Hey everybody, and welcome to the Pedal Zone at NAMM 19, where I'm standing with the one and only Dan Trudeau, the creator of everything rad within the world of amps.
Everything Revv.
And everything rad and Revv. But not only amps anymore. Like, you moved on to pedals now.
Yes, sir.
Before we start this whole thing, I need to thank you for creating the most badass metal distortion I've ever tried. It's usually not my thing at all.
Yes.
But the G3 just hits all the right spots, you know. Raunchy, it's articulate, but you never lose note definition at all.
Right.
And it's not hyper squashed like you get with a lot of metal distortions, like they're squashed to the point of death. This one has like the right amount of tube sagginess to it.
Yes, absolutely. No, it's my pleasure. It's just something I wanted to make sure sounded as close to being a tube amplifier in a box as possible. You know, they're all modeled after the Generator 120, the channels 3 and 4. And I couldn't release anything that didn't sound great to me. I'm very picky about tone, as you can tell probably from the Generator series of amplifiers and all that good stuff. So getting that tube sound was the most important thing, and then adding things like making sure it was articulate, that the punch of the bass was right. And I got there, man. It was great. Once I realized I had it, it took a few more revisions, but you know, the feedback was fantastic for it, and so I left it at that, and everybody seems to have just got on and picked one up and just are in love with it, and the feedback's just been amazing.
Then you moved on to the G4, and I have to admit I don't have personal experience with the Generator amp. I've tried your Dynamis, which is dynamite. It's awesome. So I thought, immediately G4, so that means even more gain, but it's actually a completely different beast.
Yes.
Could you quickly give the lowdown on what the G4 is all about?
Absolutely. So the G4 is based off of channel 4 on the 120, hence the G4. The idea behind this one was with the G3, if you own one, you know that it's very mid-focus.
Yeah.
With the G4, that was going to be the opposite. So essentially, it's more of a scoop sound. It's a fatter sound, more wide in the bottom end. I wouldn't say it's got more gain, but it sort of seems like it based on the frequencies that are clipping. So it gives it a pseudo more gain type of an attack sound. But the idea was to make sure that it was as close to the G4, the channel 4 sound as possible, and I got there. But also to make sure that it didn't sound close at all to the G3, because it's not an addition to the G3, it's its own beast, and that they work in harmony together, depending on if you're running them both on your pedal board. I'm so happy with the way it turned out, actually. It's more of my sound.
Exactly, I totally get that, because I had the pleasure of trying both now, and I have to admit, the G4 is also way more me.
Yes.
It's just more open,
Yeah.
and it also seems like the gain range, it's wider from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it really is. With the addition of the aggression switches, I mean, you can take it from anywhere. I mean, you could bring it down quite well to a real low gain version of the sound of the channel. But when you punch it up and hit red aggression and crank your gain, I mean, yeah, then it's brutal.
Besides the G4, you also brought this baby behind us.
Absolutely.
The D20, which is your stunning knowledge within amplification and tube amps,
Yes.
which meets the digital CapSim technology of two notes, right?
Absolutely.
Could you just give us the quick feature rundown on this one?
Yeah, sure. So the D20 is in line with the Dynamis series. It is part of the Dynamis series. It's 20 watts, all tube. We're running 6v6 GT power tubes in the power amp. It's a one-channel amp with a push-pull gain knob, so you can go from clean and then adjust it to taste, pull it out, and it crunches up a little bit. Again, you know, it'll get to like channel 2 aggression of the generator, but not too far. It's basically a pedal platform amp, which is why we just stuck with the one channel. But it's got the great Dynamis clean that you find in the head. And then, yeah, it meets the two notes torpedo technology here, which has just been fantastic. When I put them together, I was blown away by how it really sounded. So I put a quick 6 on the front. You can switch between 6 of your favorite cabs. I mean, it's 9 pounds, so you can throw it in an overhead if you need to fly somewhere and do a quick gig.
Are these fixed, or can you choose what presets you want to store?
You can choose exactly. Everything is moldable. So the amp will connect to your computer, allow you to run the torpedo or the two notes remote software, which then allows you to configure your cabs, your mic placements, the power amps, all that good stuff, and then save it to each of the 6 settings on the back. But the amp also supports MIDI, so you can, if you've got a more complicated rig, plug it into MIDI, and now you can choose far more cabinets by using the MIDI. So the sky's the limit.
It's like the perfect, studio home recording solution, but also like grab and go gigs, and you want a steady result every single time when playing live.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about miking up a cab. Just hook this up to the PA and you're good to go.
Absolutely, and it's got a built-in load, so you don't even really need to run a real speaker cabinet with the amplifier. You just punch in the button on the back for the internal load, and you can just run it off the two note stuff into your interface, whatever you're doing. So if you do fly in somewhere and you don't want to bring a cabinet or use a cabinet, use the load, send it to front of house or something, and you're good to go.
Man, that is very exciting. I have to say this is probably one of the most exciting products I've seen at NAMM. Yeah. When can we expect this to be out, and what do you think the price point will be?
So the price point is going to be roughly around $11.99, something like that. And I think we're going to look at a release for May or June, something like that. These are definitely the prototypes, so we're still going through a few things, but I mean, they've turned out fantastic. Everything's working like it should. I want to beat them up a little bit more just to make sure everything is going to be stand the test of time, because if they are going to be flying rigs, I want to make sure I can kick that thing and it's still going to work. Yeah. So after all that's said and done, I think we're looking at around May, and then you guys can get one.
Thank you. I'm super stoked to hear that, man. Thank you so much for this, Dan.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.